Hey friends, what's going on? In this clip, we're going to be showing you something a bit special. That piece of equipment that you see there is called an air spade. It runs off of a high-powered towable compressor that allows us to remove the soil around a tree's base without damaging the roots. Pretty cool, right? Our customer called us because these hemlocks suddenly weren't doing so good. So even though they might look healthy, beneath the surface, not so much. See, the entire area that they're growing in is covered in landscaping fabric. Not seeing the problem? Let me explain. When landscaping fabric is first laid down, it allows water to pass through it, but over time, that fabric gets clogged, stopping water and organic matter from reaching the soil underneath. What you're left with is a thick mat that essentially suffocates the ground below it. Keep watching. We also like to give an area a quick soak to control the dust. It really makes a big difference. Now here's another issue with landscaping fabric. Most of the time, once it's installed, it stays there forever. But trees don't stay the same size. They keep growing, and eventually, that fabric, which was meant to control the weeds, starts choking the tree and its roots. Now, when roots are restricted from growing freely, this leads to another problem called stem girdling roots. This happens when a tree's own roots start wrapping around each other, cutting off the flow of nutrients and water. And when a tree's roots are restricted, guess what? So is its ability to pull up food and water into the canopy. That's when you start seeing parts of a tree decline. Yellowing leaves, thinning canopy, and overall poor health.
Very clay, it's super hard.
Another issue arises. Since organic matter can't break down into the soil, the ground starts to harden, creating a poor growing environment for the tree. You can also see how nice and rich the soil above the fabric is, but once you go underneath the fabric, it's rock hard clay, a poor growing environment.
Look at that.
You can really see how these trees have been struggling against the fabric by noticing how tightly it is pressed against the trunk. Now check out these next trees, no fabric, and they look so much better. Here's another great example. Nice and rich soil here, but over here, it's dry and poor. In the process, we have to trim off some clinging roots. It's perfectly fine to remove these in small amounts. In fact, it can be beneficial. Trimming them at this stage creates new opportunities for new roots to grow, this time without having to deal with the annoying fabric. Landscaping fabric has its place, but certainly nowhere near your trees. Once we're done removing all the fabric, it's time to lay down our proprietary forest floor mix. This stuff is packed with rich, earthy, composted wood chips that have been turned over and composting for over a year. Nice and juicy for the soil. We spread it in a 3 to 4 inch layer on top of the freshly exposed soil. Over time, it'll break down and enrich the soil underneath, finally giving that poor soil the nutrient boost it's been missing. You guys have to remember that a tree can only be as healthy as the soil it's growing in. I'm using the air spade to blend the composted wood chips into the existing soil. This helps mix everything together and kickstart the soil amendment process. At this point, yeah, I'm definitely feeling the weight of the day. All that's left now is to juice up the subsoil with some good organic-based liquid fertilizer. Take a listen. This also rehydrates the soil after using the air spade, which tends to dry it out. At the same time, we're feeding the subsoil with beneficial microbes and nutrients that will build up the soil's health. It's a process that takes time, but in liquid format, the tree can readily uptake the nutrients. Nice. And as part of the standard JP tree care service, we need to make sure we leave the area nice and clean before we leave, ready for the customer to enjoy. And that's a wrap. If you have any questions about what we did here, drop us a comment. Questions about your trees? Don't be a stranger and reach out. I'll be happy to help. As a young company, I also want to express my appreciation to all of our amazing customers that trust their properties to us. It means a lot. From the bottom of my heart, thank you.